In this sublesson, we'll see how to implement port security feature on Nexus OS switch. Remember that the port security feature allows you to configure layer 2 physical interfaces and layer 2 port channel interfaces to allow inbound traffic from only a restricted set of MAC addresses. So in order to enable port security feature, we can go ahead into the config mode and say feature port security, and we have peer device if it's a VPC configured. So if it's a VPC, you need to enable port security on both sides, both the VPC peers, but otherwise you don't need to worry about it. And let's look at the VLAN configuration. We have VLAN 10 and 20. Let's say we create VLAN 11 and 12. And we go under the interface, interface Ethernet 1/1. We make it a switch port interface and say switch port security. We are enabling the port security on Ethernet 1/1 and say switch port security. And there are a bunch of options that you can configure with port security feature on the interface. So you can say MAC address, and either you can specify a static MAC address or you can specify the sticky option. With the sticky option, the MAC address is automatically bound to that interface the moment it is learned from the host that is connected to it. So we can say sticky, it's a better option to use. And then we can use the command switch port security, and we can say maximum we are allowing is like 50 MAC addresses on this port. On the switch port, we are saying switch port security maximum of we can allow 10 from VLAN say 10 or 11, the one that we created. So it's failing to update the maximum, and say let's say for 20. It took the command for 20, and what we can do is we can say switch port security and the maximum, and we configured the 40 maximum MAC addresses allowed on VLAN 10. So we are using VLAN 10 and 20. We are not using VLAN 11 and 12 that we created. It might be in pending state, so it takes time. So we have used VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. And there are different options for that you can configure for the violation: protect, restrict, or shut down. With protect, it drops all the packets from the insecure host at the port security process level, but it does not increment the port security or the security violation counter. Whereas with the restrict option, it does increment the security violation counter. And finally, with the shutdown, it shuts down the interface if a violation is seen. So we can select, since we have like 50 MAC addresses allowed, a maximum of 50, we can say let's shut it down, and let's say no shut. So in this case, we can say show switch show port security and interface Ethernet 1/1. So we are going to see that this port security is enabled, and the violation is set to shutdown mode. The aging time is 0. Aging time is absolute, and maximum is 50. And soon as we start learning the MAC addresses, because this is in sticky mode of learning, we are going to keep incrementing the MAC addresses and in the sticky MAC addresses counter. And as soon as we see the violation, we'll see the violation counter increasing. And if it exceeds 50, it's gonna shut down the port Ethernet 1/1.